The United States is full of ghost towns. Places where the gold ran out, or the industry died, and people simply moved away. But Centralia, Pennsylvania, is different. People didn't just leave Centralia. They were forced out by a monster living directly beneath their feet. Welcome to the story of the town that burns from the inside. A town where the ground temperature exceeds 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. A town that was literally erased from the map by the federal government. This is not a horror movie. This is the terrifying true reality of zip code 17927. To understand how a thriving American community turned into a gateway to hell, we have to go back to the beginning. Before the fire, Centralia was a prosperous home to nearly 3,000 residents. It had 5 hotels, 7 churches, 27 saloons, and 2 theaters. It was the heartbeat of the anthracite coal region. But locals say the town was doomed long before the fire started. There is a legend in Centralia, a curse spoken in 1868. The town was once a stronghold for the Molly Maguires, a secret society of Irish coal miners who used violence to fight against oppressive mine owners. One day, the town's priest, Father Daniel Ignacy McDermott, was brutally assaulted by the gang. As he lay on the ground, wounded, he reportedly cursed the town. He said, "A day will come when St. Ignatius Church will be the only thing left standing in Centralia." Whether you believe in curses or not, one thing is undeniably true. Today, nearly 160 years later, St. Ignatius Church is one of the only buildings left on the hill, overlooking a wasteland of smoke and ash. The rest of the town is gone. But the real destruction didn't come from a curse. It came from a single, careless mistake on a sunny day in May 1962. It was meant to be a routine cleaning operation. The city council wanted to clean up the town landfill before the Memorial Day celebration. The landfill was located in an abandoned strip mine pit on the edge of town. The plan was simple, or so they thought. On May 27, 1962, the Centralia Fire Department was hired to burn the trash. This was a common practice at the time. Firefighters set the dump ablaze, let it burn for a while to reduce the waste, and then doused it with water hoses until the flames were gone. They went home, believing the job was done. But 2 days later, the residents saw smoke rising from the dump again. The firefighters returned, flooded it with water again, and left. A week later, the smoke was back. What the council didn't realize, or perhaps chose to ignore, was the geology of the pit. The landfill wasn't just a hole in the ground, it was an open wound connecting directly to a labyrinth of old, abandoned coal mines. At the bottom of that trash pit, the intense heat had ignited an exposed vein of anthracite coal. Anthracite is known as hard coal. It is incredibly difficult to ignite, but once it starts burning, it is nearly impossible to put out. It burns hotter and longer than any other type of coal. While the surface fire was extinguished, the embers had fallen deep into the mine shafts. The fire began to crawl, snake-like, through the underground tunnels that stretched beneath the entire town. It was no longer a trash fire. It was a mine fire. For years, the government tried to stop it. They drilled holes and poured wet sand, fly ash, and water into the mines. But the fire was smarter. It moved faster than they could drill. It found new pockets of oxygen. It spread deeper, chasing the rich coal seams that ran under the schools, the shops, and the homes of Centralia. By the late 1960s, people started noticing strange things. In the dead of winter, when snow covered the rest of Pennsylvania, the ground in Centralia was bare. The heat from below was melting the snow instantly. Vegetables and gardens would cook in the soil before they could be harvested. People complained of headaches and nausea, early signs of carbon monoxide poisoning. The invisible danger became undeniable in 1979. John Coddington, the owner of a gas station, was checking the fuel level in his underground tanks. When he pulled out the dipstick, it was hot to the touch. Confused, he lowered a thermometer into the tank on a string. When he pulled it up, he couldn't believe his eyes. The gasoline in the tank was 172 degrees Fahrenheit. The earth was essentially cooking his gas station. If the temperature had risen just a little more, the entire station could have exploded, taking a city block with it. But the government remained slow to act. They debated the cost. They argued about who was responsible. Was it the state? The federal government? The local council? While the bureaucrats argued in air-conditioned offices, the people of Centralia were living on top of a furnace. Then came Valentine's Day, 1981. This is the day that changed everything. A 12-year-old boy named Todd Domboski was playing in his grandmother's backyard. He noticed a wisp of smoke coming from the ground near a tree. Curious, he walked over to investigate. Suddenly, the earth beneath his feet collapsed. A sinkhole, 4 feet wide and nearly 150 feet deep, opened up like a mouth. Todd plunged into the darkness. He managed to grab onto a thick tree root, dangling over the abyss. Below him was a raging inferno, spewing lethal levels of carbon monoxide. The heat was so intense it began to melt his sneakers. He screamed for help, the toxic smoke filling his lungs. In a stroke of miraculous luck, his cousin, Eric Wolfgang, was nearby. Eric risked his own life, reaching into the crumbling hole and pulling Todd out by his muddy clothes just moments before the ground gave way completely. Todd survived, but the incident sent a shockwave through the nation. The headline, "Boys Swallowed by Earth," appeared in newspapers across America. The illusion of safety was shattered. Parents were afraid to let their children play outside. The air in their homes was tested daily for poison gas. Some residents installed carbon monoxide detectors, which would alarm constantly, day and night, reminding them that they were slowly being poisoned. The community became divided. On one side were those who wanted to stay, believing the government was exaggerating the danger to steal the mineral rights to the $1 billion worth of coal. On the other side were those who feared for their lives and wanted a government buyout. Neighbors stopped talking to neighbors. The town was tearing itself apart, mirrored by the cracks forming in the streets. Finally, in 1983, the U.S. Congress intervened. They allocated $42 million to buy out the homes and businesses of Centralia. It was a voluntary relocation program, but for many, it felt like an eviction. The demolition began. It was a slow, painful death for the town. One by one, the houses were bought, the families moved out, and the bulldozers moved in. The sounds of children playing were replaced by the roar of heavy machinery. A once tight-knit community was scattered across the country. By 1992, the state of Pennsylvania invoked eminent domain. This meant that the remaining residents didn't have a choice anymore. Their property now belonged to the state. The remaining diehards fought legal battles for decades, refusing to leave the only home they had ever known. But they were fighting a losing war against both the government and nature. In 2002, the U.S. Postal Service revoked Centralia's zip code, 17927. In the eyes of the system, Centralia no longer existed. The roads leading into the town were blocked with dirt mounds. Warning, mine fire signs were posted everywhere. Today, if you visit Centralia, and let me be clear, it is dangerous and technically illegal, you will find an eerie, post-apocalyptic landscape. The grid of streets remains, but the houses are gone. Nature has reclaimed the land. Sidewalks end abruptly in fields of overgrown grass. Stone stairs lead up to empty lots where families once ate dinner and watched television. For years, the town's most famous landmark was the Graffiti Highway, a section of Route 61 that had been closed due to massive cracks caused by the fire. Over decades, visitors covered every inch of the asphalt in colorful graffiti, turning it into a strange, anarchic art gallery. But even that is gone now. In 2020, during the pandemic, the crowds became too unmanageable, and the owners covered the entire highway with mounds of dirt, burying history once again. So, when will the fire stop? Experts estimate that there is enough coal underground to fuel the fire for another 250 years. It has now spread over 400 acres and is moving deeper. It threatens the neighboring town of Burnsville, which has also been largely abandoned. The fire of Centralia is a slow-motion disaster. It is a testament to human error and nature's uncontrollable power. It is a reminder that the ground we walk on is not as permanent as we think. Today, only a handful of people, fewer than 5, still live in Centralia. They are allowed to stay until they pass away, after which their homes will be destroyed, and the town will officially be empty. As you look at the white church on the hill, still standing just as the priest predicted in 1868, you have to wonder, was it the curse? Or was it just the inevitable consequence of digging too deep into the dark? Thank you for watching this documentary. If you are fascinated by the dark corners of history, please subscribe to the channel. We have many more stories to tell. Until next time, stay safe.